This is Nalasopara. Since 2002, this particular area has been through not only one, but two different stages in the process of urbanization of the arrival city. The first one, initiated when migrants from all over India came to this piece of land in the periphery of Mumbai's metropolitan region. The second one started only 6 years after. The enormous pressure over the available land to continue to accommodate the new exploding urban population meant a rapid increase in density. In these few years, the city transformed from a low-rise fabric composed of bathy chawls to an even denser fabric composed of cramped, high-rise buildings known as handshake chawls. This process is still being built today, growing spontaneously on top of an already spontaneous urban fabric. And this is far from being an isolated case in India. The expansion of the urban population has been witnessed and suffered in all its biggest cities. And if we look even further away, this is the case of many of the developing economies in the global south. The entire region has struggled to cope with the mass migration from rural areas to the poles of development located in the new network of globalized cities. The lack of resources, infrastructure, regulations, and political will found in most of these cities left this new urban population with no other option than to take care of themselves. The need for housing, job opportunities, and basic services created the unregulated city. Patches of land where people settled and started creating their new environment with few resources, no planning, and in most cases, no support and no supervision from the government. In some cases, this process took place in parallel with the liberalization of the economy. Market forces have started to shape the global city. If we investigate how the state has managed housing in India, for example, we will see its role being transformed from that of a major supplier to more of a regulator that tries to incentivize the private sector into making the issue of affordable housing part of their agendas. On the contrary, what this shift has created is a massive shortage of affordable housing, not only for the urban poor, but increasingly also for the middle classes. Furthermore, a cultural phenomenon has also taken place. The issue of housing has been transformed into a discussion of numbers and money. The idea that what matters is only the density measured in FSI has created not only cheap, poorly constructed housing projects, but also is at the heart of failed regulatory schemes that are set to house numbers instead of people. The 1995 Slum Redevelopment Scheme is the best example of these practices. The issue of affordable housing is also the issue of appropriate and dignified dwelling conditions. Let's go back to Nalasopara. How does this global problem manifest itself in this peripheral area of Mumbai? Where do we go from here, when it seems that the speed of this process is way faster than the ability of the authorities to cope with the need for infrastructure, services, and a sustainable planning model? Is the solution to keep looking for available land where new waves of urban arrivals can start the process, creating the same bad conditions over and over again? What do we do with this part of the city? Build anew where the forces from the market, the state, the people keep clashing and overpowering one another. What is the next step in this process of urbanization? The question gets more complicated if we recognize that in this whole process, social and productive value was also created. Communities were formed. People start producing and making a living with what they found in hand. Investment flowed into this area to provide schools, hospitals, transport stations, and other needed amenities. Tabula rasa is not an option when the resources are limited and the ground is rich with a lively and complex city on top. But then, how do you plan this complex landscape of interests, needs, interactions, and aspirations? How does systematic planning can address the need for a planned, urban-oriented supply of affordable housing, while linking at the same time the existing environment with its complexities, problems, and potentials? How does an open urban housing plan look like? And derived from those questions, what can trigger this whole process? How do you create a master plan that also empowers people into building a new future? The idea is to start looking into how the different stakeholders relate to each other to find possible partnerships and mutual benefits. To consider numbers and densities, but also look beyond that into the conditions that create a sustained, healthy urban dwelling environment. To address both the urban scale to build better cities, better communities, better neighborhoods, but also look into the intimate scale of what constitutes a home for different families in the different stages of their lives.